Every show has a theme song to let you know now it's time. Every show has a theme song. Settle in, fall in line. Every show has a theme song. Here it is, this is mine. Every show has a theme song. It's a book, it's sublime. Hi, everyone. Welcome to It's a Book, my YouTube series celebrating reading, writing, storytelling, and the creative life. I am Blair Hampton, an indie author of surreal allegorical fiction inspired by art, history, nature, science fiction, and metaphysics. If you have ever found yourself searching for a meaning in symbols, dreams, or the strange beauty hidden in everyday life, you are in the right place. I am delighted to present to you my vision board explained. In this segment, I will explore the feelings, concepts, images, and research that inspire my creative process. In Search of Shadows isn't the first full length novel I've written, but it is the first of my creative fiction to be published. In Search of Shadows is a fantasy novel that features a teenage inventor who gets into all sorts of mischief while serving as an apprentice in his father's impractical machine shop where magical things are repaired, built, or sold. After finding an invention his father has built but is determined not to sell, Danny Patton enlists the help of his best friend Jaina. They power up the device and chaos ensues. Dark, shadowy forces from the afterlife are summoned to Grandpa's old bedroom and promptly kidnap Danny's annoying but cherished little brother. Capability versus morality. In what ways have humans displayed ingenuity? In what ways can resourcefulness, fueled by humanity's unique ability to imagine and create, become harmful? I wrote In Search of Shadows in an attempt to philosophize the answers to these questions, and there is more than one answer. Should you just because you can? What responsibility do we have to our own humanity and to the collective to keep us from going too far? The atomic nightmares of Nagasaki and Hiroshima, alongside other pivotal technological achievements, cause great harm. They are an expedient means to an end, requiring an intelligence and exquisite attention to detail that separates the apprentice from the warlock, but at what cost? When I attempted to answer these questions through allegorical storytelling, I was reminded of the biblical story of Lucifer, the fallen angel who manipulated universal laws in search of autonomy and domination. In what ways do humans emulate this megalomania? In what instances have our creations caused great harm to all for the sake of a few? I reflected on the nefarious endeavors of Scripture's so called morning star as I attempted all that we lose in the search to serve self above all else. I studied astronomy and I marveled at how the most ancient tales were inspired by the positioning of celestial bodies moving across the cosmos. Similarly, my love of science, African mythology, and metaphysics provided the inspiration for In Search of Shadows, my coming of age story about a teenage prodigy on the cusp of great personal and professional development. Through a plot that takes the reader from the landfills of New York City to an uninhabited island in the East River off the coast of the Bronx, Danny Patton, my 13-year-old protagonist, must explore all the angles of these philosophical arguments. He must consider all of his experiences, past, present, and future, to conduct a thorough investigation. Danny hurdles through a high-speed adventure that requires a grit, determination, and courage that belies his years. He must use the hypotheses conjured by his brilliant yet impetuous mind to consider how his admirable but sometimes worrisome ambition will affect his soul in the long run. Danny must weigh the pros and cons of scientific achievement against his responsibility to his family and mankind. As the architect of his journey, I guide Danny through heavy thoughts and emotions using a tangible, objective lens by way of formulas and a chronological record of past human events, while also considering those things that can only be described as noumena. Phenomena, in short, means those things that are unknowable. The scientific method becomes Danny's tool to solve problems as he navigates these scary, life altering experiences. Regardless of your creed, let's consider for a moment one of the most widely read and published works of literature in human existence, okay? Scripture references an intangible force that inspires the verses informing creation of our most stunning artistic expressions, such as Dante's Inferno or the ceiling of the Sistine Chapel. Inferno and the art commissioned by the Pope sought to depict man's fall from grace and the means by which we may redeem ourselves. My protagonist has a spectacular fall, and his journey will not only uncover his rise, but also lay the foundation of his life's purpose. Hubris, failure, and fear are some of the conditions that shape character. My beloved protagonist, a teen with an insatiable lust for knowledge and power, is my contribution to the art that exists to make sense of universal law. Our adherence or disobedience to these laws determines whether a monster or a hero is born. In Search of Shadows implores readers to consider what keeps us worthy stewards of antimony, divination, and alchemy. I beckon my readers to consider all the ways we have used our sacred ability for goodness' sake and the ways we have used our greatness for wickedness. Danny is determined to become the world's greatest inventor. Throughout the pages of my debut novel, written for kids while remaining deeply meaningful for adults, I take readers on a journey to learn what it takes to be a true leader while exploring the chaos that ensues when we fail to cherish one another. It highlights the atrocities that stem from man's inability to perform the harder, more circuitous task of designing solutions that do not harm a single being or the sacred environment connecting us to the universe. Through theory, trial, and error, Danny will eventually decide for himself whether to use his powers for good or evil. Now, imagine me at a book festival attempting to answer the question, so what is your book about? I am working on the art of omitting needless words, but my work conveys multitudes. There are so many words in the English language I can string together to try to make sense of it all. So forgive me as I overthink. Be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe to my YouTube series. I am committed to posting more content more regularly, and I'd appreciate it if you showed your support. My work is inspired by furry muses, winged things, and seemingly innocuous creatures that can ruin a good day. Kindly purchase my work, write a review, and tell a friend to tell a friend. Bye.